Hi everyone. I have not made a video in some time. You'll have to excuse me for fidgeting. This heat wave is killer. Um, as I said, it's been quite a while since I've posted a video. But I guess I just feel like there are times that come in your life and things that you see and hear about that you just feel like you just have to say something. And I heard about the George Zimmerman verdict and him being not guilty. For me personally, as far as the legality of it goes, um, as far as exactly what happened that night, I don't think there are only two people that were there, and there are only two people that know what happened. So I feel as though I can't speak on that. What it is that bothers me is the inability and the unwillingness of people all across YouTube to just say, you know what, this country was founded on racism, and it is a part of our past, but it is a part of a lot of the things that are going on. And you just can't get away from it, and that is something that's really unfortunate. And I don't need people to agree with me. I don't need people to think that everything that I think is racially motivated was racially motivated. um, I just really wish that people, all across YouTube, were able to maybe kind of sit back and reflect and say, you know what? I don't live in a diverse area. I don't live in a place where I see a lot of minorities or people who are unlike me. I mean, you might be a minority in an all minority town and see, nothing but other Asians or Mexicans or Hispanics or Latinos, whatever. And say, I don't know what's going on over there. So, racism must not exist. But it is so ingrained in our national identity. I mean, or else we wouldn't have things like Black History Month. Martin Luther King Day would be just another day. These would not be things that needed to be celebrated as a landmark to kind of say to people, please remember this. People always like to throw out that card, slavery was so long ago. And it was. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I personally was ever out, shoveling, or, that I can even. Um, my parents are from Jamaica, so I can't directly trace my lineage to any kind of slavery that happened in the United States. But what needs to be thought about is the consequences of that slavery, and the fact that 54 years ago, separate but equal was overturned. Those kids that are so bravely marching into that first school on their first day of school, just you've got all those nerves, and then on top of it, you are black in a white neighborhood, and this is national news. And these white people and their neighbors and Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Smith down the street, who are normally lovely people, are throwing rocks and just shouting slurs at these kids. That's within my parents' lifetime, at least, definitely within my grandparents' lifetime. And the people that were throwing those rocks, you know some of them are still alive, unfortunately, and they had kids and they passed those values down. And I would love to sit here and say that those things go away, but they don't. And I'm not saying I ever think we'll be a perfect nation. I don't ever think racism will go away. It is the brain's automatic to do is to just function on stereotypes. It is an unfortunate side effect of being a human and having a big old brain with lots of information to process. But that does not mean that people should get complacent. It doesn't mean that when things like Trayvon Martin happen, we shouldn't be introspective and that we should just move on. And I hear a lot of people saying, well, this is just one kid. What about this kid? And it's, what? It was the same thing with the civil rights movement. There were a lot of other black women that sat on that bus and said absolutely no before Rosa Parks. But that one came along, and that was a catalyst that got people talking and got things started. And people just need to be open to talk about it. People just need to be able to say, like, you know what? This might be an issue. And if I can recognize it in my personal life and see the ways that other people might be affected, maybe in the long run, I can help somebody else out. So, I mean, prayers and well wishes go out to the Martin family. I could not imagine. I know I would be absolutely just devastated. And I think, unfortunately, what's been lost in a lot of this is that as the African American community, who is, just, I mean, this is a video about honesty, so let's be honest here. Just soaring prison industrial complex rates. I mean, through the roof with the amount of African American men that are imprisoned yearly, compared with other races. Um, he was young. He had his whole life in front of him. Um, and as a society, we will never get to know who he could have been. Um, so I think that the most important thing that people can take away from this experience, and however you feel about the verdict, um, is just to stay open and just to be willing to talk to that person who's not like you, who doesn't look like you, who doesn't have your background, is not from your small town, and just talk about it. That's it. It's always the first step is just to talk about it. Oh, and quick side note for all you people who keep comparing this to OJ's trial, this is not tit for tat for murder. That junk is not cute. Like, people getting killed regardless of race, creed, color, orientation, I don't care. It is still sad. It is still loss of a human life. I don't know if OJ was innocent or guilty. I don't really care. And that is not what is going on now. This is not 1990 whatever. And you don't get to say just because he got off, this one gets off. We need to work to be better as a society, point blank, period. And more people just need to get involved in that. So, peace.